In this module, we will discuss about the regional groupings. Regional grouping is an agreement among the participating countries to form a regional trade group to coordinate their trade within their geographical region by removing artificial trade barriers in goods and services and factors of production by means of free trade area, customs union and other preferential trade arrangements. The grouping of two or more countries has two types of economic effects. Firstly, the trade creating effect, expressing the increase in consumption, thereby increasing the national income of the participating countries, and secondly, the trade diversion effect, expressing the resultant change in the trend of trade activities in favor of participating countries and against the non-participating countries. Since such groupings or integrations are impacting the trade of non-participating countries adversely, such formations are of great importance not only for participating countries but also for non-participating countries. Within the framework of GATT, the trade without discrimination contained in Article 1st was one of the major principles that specify that any trade concession granted to a particular country is required to be extended to all other member countries, most favored nation clause. And moreover, the member countries are required to treat the imported product equivalent to their domestic product. The exception to the most favored nation principle is contained in Article 24th, which permits for the establishment of free trade areas and custom unions. Another exception to the principle of non-discrimination is the exclusion of developing countries from the most favored nation clause to enable them to develop their economies, extending them trade preferences and preferential treatment that are not available to other countries. It can also be observed that no region in the world is free from regional grouping or trade blocs where most of the countries developed or developing are in search of seeking membership of or sort of alliances or linkages with one grouping or the other to increase their trade volumes by establishing closer cooperation and coordination amongst the nations to cater their needs of development and growth. After studying this module, you shall be able to understand the concept of regional grouping, know the various types of regional groupings, know the formation of major regional groupings, their objectives, functioning and present status. Now, we shall understand about the types of regional groupings. Regional groupings can be classified into 6 major types. Preferential trading agreement. Under such agreements, the member countries reduce barriers to import of some identified product categories from one another. The member countries apply preferential treatment on identified products within the member countries as compared to rest of the world. The Bangkok Agreement is the best example of preferential trade agreement where Bangladesh, Republic of Korea, Laos, Sri Lanka, China, Mongolia and India are the members to the agreement that provide the liberalization of tariff barriers among the member nations. Next is free trade area. It is the area of the member countries who have signed a free trade agreement to reduce trade barriers such as import quotas and tariffs to stimulate trade with each other. It follows its own policy with respect to the trade with non-member countries. For this reason, the free trade areas are criticized on the ground that whatever they import from the third countries have the chances of penetration into the groupings with lowest tariffs through the custom of the member state and then may be re-exported to the other participants. Next, Customs Union. It is a wider form of free trade area where, apart from eliminating or reducing all barriers to trade among themselves, the member countries follow common trade policy against non-member countries. In this way, the member countries form discriminatory trade bloc against non-participating countries. As in free trade area, the member countries develop elaborate rules of origin. The member countries under custom unions concentrate on the trade practices instead of elaborating rules of origin. Next, common market. It is usually built upon a free trade area where the member countries promote duty-free trade of goods and services and all factors of production such as capital and labor. It also imposes common external tariff on imports from non-participating countries. Next, economic union. Apart from the free flow of goods and services, common external tariff on imports and free flow of factors of production, the member countries follow common policies with respect to their economic matters and work as a single economic unit. The purpose of economic union is to increase economic efficiency of the member countries. For example, the European Union. When an economic union requires combined currency, it turns out to be an economic and monetary union. Next is monetary union. Under the monetary union, the member countries incorporate a central monetary authority that decides a common monetary policy for the member countries. It issues a common currency to be circulated among the member countries. For example, the euro being the single currency circulated among the eurozone and administered by the European Central Bank. Let us now discuss about the major regional groupings. In order to understand the regional groupings in better and elaborative way, let us look at some of the major regional groupings as discussed below. European Union. It is regarded as one of the most successful regional groupings in the world. Earlier known as European Economic Community or European Common Market, was established on January 1, 1958 on the basis of the Treaty of Rome in 1957 after the World War II. The basic idea behind creation of EEC is for people, goods and services to move without any barrier across borders. The objective is to promote stability and economic cooperation between the member countries. The 6 member countries, with Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg and the Netherlands signed the treaty in Rome. Over the time, more and more countries decided to be a part of the Union and its membership has grown to 28 member countries till July 1, 2003, covering much of the continent. The organizational structure of the European Union is composed of: first, the Executive Commission to ensure proper compliance of agreed policies. Second, the Council of Ministers who takes decision upon technical matters and lays down guidelines for political and economic policies. Third, the European Parliament, a consultative body representing national parliaments of the member countries. Fourth, the Court of Justice settle dispute arising out of different provisions. Fifth, the Economic and Social Committee, a consultative body constituted by the representatives of workers, employers and professional organizations of member countries. And sixth, the Monetary Committee, giving advice to the Executive Commission and the Council of Ministers on international monetary issues. Next are the objectives of the EU. The main objective of the Union is to promote peace, the Union's values and welfare of its people. The other general objectives are: A. To provide an area of freedom, security and justice without internal barriers, a free single market. B. To provide an internal market with free and undistorted competition in the common market. C. Emphasis on sustainable development based on balanced economic growth and price stability. D. To promote a social market economy aiming at full employment and social progress. E. To promote scientific and technological advancement. F. To combat social exclusion and discrimination and promote social justice and protection, gender equality, and protection of child's right. Moreover, the treaties over time included the aims of establishing an economic and monetary union EMU, euro as a single currency, a common foreign and security policy CFSP establishing a joint foreign and defense office, an area of justice and home affairs. Next is EU-India relationship. The relationship of European Union and Republic of India dates back to the early 1960s, where India was among the first to set up diplomatic associations with the European Economic Community in 1962. The bilateral relations of the aliens achieved its new level when the joint political statement in 1993 and the cooperation agreement signed in 1994. The first India-EU summit was held in Lisbon in 2000. Thereafter, EU decided to hold annual summit with India. Subsequently, the relationship was upgraded to strategic partnership in 2004 during 5th annual summit. In 2005, a comprehensive joint action plan chalked out a roadmap for India-EU relationship in diverse sectors. Also, the launch of negotiations on a broad-based trade and investment agreement on the recommendation of the High-Level Trade Group was accepted by both the groups in 2006 at Helsinki. India and EU are dedicated to increase their trade flows of goods and services, bilateral investment and access to public procurement through the Free Trade Agreement negotiations that were initiated in 2007. 13 rounds of negotiation have been held to cover trade in goods, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, and technical barriers to trade, trade in services, investment, IPR, and geographical indication till 2011. Two trade barriers with export restrictions on cotton and security requirement on telecommunication equipment was fully removed in 2012. The value of trade between India and EU has grown from 28.6 billion euros to 72.5 billion euros in 2014. To sum up, the EU has now been considered as the India's largest trade and investment partner. Next is North American Free Trade Agreement NAFTA. The North American Free Trade Agreement NAFTA came into existence on January 1, 1994, aimed at removing barriers to trade and investment, generating economic growth and uplifting the standard of living of three member countries, viz. United States, Canada and Mexico. NAFTA was preceded by the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement. Each member country of NAFTA gives up tariffs on imported goods originating in other member country. NAFTA's rule of origin facilitate the customs representatives to determine which goods are qualified under preferential tariff treatment. The member countries attempted to make the rules of origin the most comprehensive one, so as to give certainty and predictability of manufacturers, importers and exporters. Some of the important provisions of NAFTA are discussed below. A. Market access for goods. Removal of duties on number of goods crossing borders within North America, specific rules for agriculture, automotive, textiles and apparel products, special provisions for telecommunication and financial services, and dispute resolution process pertaining to the NAFTA's rule. B. protection for foreign investment. Treating each other investors on equivalent basis in their own domestic investor obligation to give NAFTA investors with the best treatment provided to foreign investors from beyond North America and providing a transparent and binding dispute resolution mechanism. C. Protection for intellectual property, ensuring effective security and enforcement of wider range of intellectual property rights that includes patents, copyrights, trademarks and industrial designs. D. Easier access for business travelers. Simplified access across borders for business visitors, professionals, intra-company transferees, traders and investors. E. Access to government procurement of the member countries. The NAFTA has helped in elevating economic growth and created employment across borders. It has also established the roadmap for higher market competition and provided better choices and purchasing power to consumers, agriculturists, families and corporate of North America. Moreover, the alliance has provided North America business houses to access material, technologies, capital and talent available across North America that makes them more competitive in domestic as well as around the world. With the emergence of highly competitive advanced economies challenging North America's competitiveness, the NAFTA has been considered as the key to business sustainability in the region. Next is Association of South Asian Nations ASEAN. The Association of South Asian Nations ASEAN was established on August 8, 1967 in Bangkok by 5 original countries, namely Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. Brunei Darussalam emerged as 6th member of ASEAN on January 7, 1984 after gaining independence. Vietnam as 7th member on July 28, 1995, Laos and Myanmar as 8th and 9th member respectively in 1997 and Cambodia as 10th member in 1999. The aims and purpose of ASEAN are to promote regional peace and stability, to encourage mutual support on matters of common interest, to accelerate economic growth, social progress and cultural development among member countries, the optimum utilization of agriculture and industry to raise the standard of living of the people and to promote Southeast Asian studies. The ASEAN is built on 3 pillars, viz. The ASEAN Political Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. In 1992, the Common Effective Preferential Tariff Scheme was initiated for reducing tariffs with the goal of achieving the region's competitive advantage of production base for the world market. This initiative became the framework for the ASEAN Free Trade Area AFTA concerning local manufacturing in ASEAN countries signed in Singapore on January 8, 1992. The objective of AFTA is to augment the ASEAN's competitive advantage like a single production unit. The removal of tariff and non-tariff barriers among the participating nations is expected to encourage greater efficiency, productivity and competitiveness. This regional integration has recorded nominal GDP of more than 2.44 trillion euros in 2015. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation (SAARC). The SAARC countries consist of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and it came into existence on December 8, 1985 in Dhaka, signed by the heads of states or government of member states. Despite initial reluctance and internal debates with respect to inclusion of Afghanistan as the new member, being a Central Asian country, it joined SAARC as its 8th member in 2007. There are other countries, those were given observer memberships such as China, Japan, Republic of Korea, USA, Iran, Mauritius, Australia, Myanmar and the European Union till 2009. The integration offers the platform for the people of South Asia to work together in a spirit of friendship, trust and understanding, and to collaborate with each other to increase the quality of life through economic and social growth and the cultural development in the region. The main aim of the association is to speed up the procedure of economic and social development in the member states. Through collaborative action in the agreed area of cooperation, the main objectives of the SAARC are A. To promote the well-being of the people of South Asia and to improve their quality of life. B. To speed up the economic growth, social progress and cultural development in the region to offer all individuals to live in a dignified way and make the most of their full potentials. C. To build up self-sufficiency among member countries. D. To contribute towards mutual trust, understanding and respect of one another's problem. E. To support active alliances and mutual assistance in the economic, social, cultural, technical and scientific areas. F. To make firm the cooperation with other developing nations. G. To make stronger cooperation among themselves at global level on the issues of common interest. And H. To cooperate with international and domestic organizations dealing with similar aims and purpose. India alone occupies 75% of the area and population among its member countries. The GDP growth was recorded at 8.8% per annum during 2005 till 2010, that declined to 6.6% due to economic slowdown in India, but gained momentum of accelerating growth with favorable oil prices. Furthermore, the foreign exchange reserve of SAARC countries collectively stands at 385.19 billion euros. The regional grouping elaborated above are neither comprehensive nor indicative of the policies and practices that are adopted in each of the particular groupings. However, the requirement of cooperation, growth and development substantiates all the regional groupings on a common platform. The following are some of the most important regional groupings apart from grouping discussed above: Arab Maghreb Union, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, Australia New Zealand Closer Economic Relations, Central American Common Market, Central America Free Trade Area, Andean Community, Caribbean Community and Common Market, Central European Free Trade Agreement, Baltic Sea States, Sub-Regional Cooperation, Bangkok Agreement, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, Economic and Monetary Community of Central Africa, East Africa Community, Euro-Mediterranean Free Trade Area, Economic Cooperation Organization, Greater Arab Free Trade Area, Southern Common Market, Southern African Customs Union, South Asian Preferential Trade Arrangement, West African Economic and Monetary Union, South Pacific Forum. Let us now recapitulate what we studied so far. To sum up, it has been observed that countries reducing or removing tariffs against member countries are probably benefit more than they do when they challenge to secure short-term benefits by imposing tariffs. The creations of such regional groupings signifies the preferential treatment to one another's markets, thereby a relative attrition in market access to non-members raises the serious concerns depending upon a number of complex factors. As countries form regional groupings, their market share gets better and they have higher inducements to enhance their tariffs on external members. There is the existence of cases where a move towards bilateral trade agreement may reduce the inducement to contribute in multilateral negotiations. It is not clear whether the larger or smaller share of trade undertaken leads to higher or lower level of welfare. However, the regional groupings can be regarded as the significant vehicle for understanding the full economic potentials of the participating countries. In economics, marginal cost is the change in the total cost that arises when the quantity produced is incremented by 1 unit. That is, it is the cost of producing one more unit of a good. Price skimming is a pricing strategy in which a marketer sets a relatively high price for a product or service at first and then lowers the price over time.